The easiest way to personalize a project is to add a monogram, and the easiest way to take that monogram to the next level is to add rhinestones. This is a super fun project. You're not going to want to miss it. Hi, I'm Brenda Lambert. I'm a TJC licensed instructor for Silhouette. You found your way to Silhouette success, and if you are ready to learn something new today, let's do this. The first thing you want to know is that a monogram is a fancy name for a fancy initial. So I am going to start out today by typing a capital B for my initial, and we can simply call this a monogram, but it's not very appealing. So the first thing we're going to do is change our font to something a little bit nicer. This is called Billfold. Now, in order to do the rhinestones, I want it a bit chunky, but I also want it to look nice. And I'm now going to right-click and convert this to path so that it is a design element instead of a font. The next thing we're going to do is create an offset around the letters. So I'm going to select the letter B. I'm going to click on offset. And when you're working with rhinestones, you want to make sure that the offset is far enough away from the letter so that the rhinestones can go around the letter without actually touching the letter. Because what you're going to do is you're going to cut the letter out of vinyl, either HTV or adhesive vinyl, glitter HTV, whatever. You're going to have the vinyl letter, and then you are going to put the rhinestones around it. So you want enough space between your offset and the letter so that the rhinestones will actually fit. So let's bump this up a bit. I usually go right around 0.120. I'm going to click on apply. Then simply open up the Rhinestone panel and select this option here. This is the edge option, and you can see it just goes along the line. It does not fill it in. It simply just follows the offset that we created. Now at this point, you can release rhinestones, and that's going to essentially ungroup all of these. You have a million little bounding boxes now. So we need to right click and group them together so that they do not move all around. Now you have your original monogram and you have your monogram outline in rhinestones. Let's do another offset. We'll go back to offset. You can see that the distance is still set to 0.120, so I'm just going to go ahead and click apply. Now I'm going to move away the original monogram. I'm going to right click, release the compound path, pull these little bits away, go ahead and delete those. Select the offset line, open up the Rhinestone panel again, click on edge, and this creates rhinestones only along the outside of it. I left the inside blank, so that's another way that you can do this. Select your rhinestones, release them, right click, and group. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate my B so we can see the difference between the two. Let's fill our rhinestones in with white. Might be a little bit easier to see. Okay, so now you can see that this one has the outline and the inside lined with rhinestones. This one just has the very outside of it outlined. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate the B again. I'm going to show you one more way you can do this to add a little more bling. Let's open up the offset panel again, click on offset, Again, it is still at 0.120. That's what we want. Let's click apply. Now that that offset has been created, we are going to click on offset again. And you can make as many rows of rhinestones as you would like doing this. However, for the second row, I'm going to bump this up to 0.150 and give that line a little bit more space. Then I am going to click apply, open up the Rhinestone panel. Now this time I'm going to pull the actual monogram away. I am going to select both of the offsets and select edge. Now you can see there is a double row instead of just the single row. There we go. Select the rhinestones and release. Right click, group. Fill that in with white so we can get a better idea of what it looks like. Set the monogram right back in there, select all of it, and group again. Now we can pull this one over. Okay, so here you can see you have the original monogram. This one is a little bit fancy. This one is a little bit fancier, and this is pretty fancy. Now, one thing I do notice about this one here is that I'm not real fond of the spaces in between here. If I were going to do a double line on this B, I would probably have all of this filled in. So let's take a look at what we would need to do for that. We're going to do our offsets again, both of them. Open up the offset panel, click on offset. Now it comes in at 0.150 because that was the last thing we had it set on. Let's backspace there and whoops, 1.120. Enter. Okay, that's where we want it now. Click apply. The offset is selected, so we're going to do an offset to that offset. And we're going to bring it up to 0.15 again. And apply. We're going to select these, and we are going to release the compound path. Now these inner lines we don't want. The very, very inside lines. We're going to get rid of those. Now we're going to open up the Rhinestone panel. And we're going to select both of the outlines. We're going to leave the inner bits alone for now. We're just selecting the two offsets, the two main parts of the offsets. And we're going to click on edge again. You can see that the outer portion has been lined with rhinestones just like before. That's what we want. So let's release rhinestones. Right click and group so that they do not move at all. That's exactly where we want them. And now we're going to work with this inner bit and hold the shift key down, select the second bit, and we can group those. You don't have to, but you can. Now that both of those are selected, we are going to go to linear fill or radial fill. You can choose either one of these to fill in an area. It just depends on your preference, and you can choose one and then undo and then choose the other. It's totally up to you. You want to see which looks best for each particular design. I'm going to start with linear fill and see how that goes. I can click on radial fill and you can see the difference. I actually like linear fill better. There aren't any gaps in that one. Now I'm going to release those rhinestones. Right click and group. Now we can select all of these rhinestones, right click and group, and bring our letter back in. And now you can see the difference between this one and this one. This one has quite a few more rhinestones filling in these little inner bits. And I prefer this over this, but you may not. It's all how you want it to look. I went ahead and pressed my design on a small makeup bag. You can see all of the bling there. It looks absolutely amazing. I used 10SS rhinestones and black glitter vinyl from HTVRONT. I will link all of the supplies in the description below. If you need some help with applying the materials and pressing different materials together, you're going to want to go ahead and watch this video next. If you're done with YouTube for the day, go create something amazing, and I will see you in the next video.